Yeah, this is Point Black. Coming in hard and off the card, coming with the flow from the barrio, coming with the heat from the street and the facts, the kickbacks. Coming with the funky flow to let them know. So right now, this is PBNN Point Black National News, the late and the great edition. Coming in with Stefan. Stefan coming with another great report that we need to check out. So we're going to come with the facts to crack backs and the boom bip to the line ass lips. And at the same time, the results in which should have been a long time ago. But we're beginning to see the walls are beginning to look like it's crumbling. As we see, but we know it's all a circus. So let's, without further ado, let Stefan do the talking.
Okay, I have some huge breaking news coming out of the state of Georgia regarding the Donald Trump election interference case that is being presided over by Judge Scott McAfee, as well as new insight about Fani Willis and also Nathan Wade. So I'll be going through all of that information here today, as well as a daily news report. But breaking news coming out of the state of Georgia, and I'm going to be going through that. Doesn't appear that anybody is on here. Oh, there we go. Oh, maybe YouTube is not letting this broadcast get out. Well, welcome. If you are just joining me, I'm going to be going over a breaking news story coming out of the state of Georgia. Judge Scott McAfee has made several big rulings that we will go through, as well as the regular daily news update that I was planning to do later this evening, but I'll go ahead and do right now. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, that thing is moving fast. It's so good to be with you live today on March 13th. So let's go ahead and jump into it because I want to respect your time. If you haven't seen yet this morning, Judge Scott McAfee in the Trump versus the state of Georgia election interference indictment, the judge, I'm getting mixed messages here. Some websites are saying he's thrown out 3 major charges, and other websites are saying that he has thrown out 6 charges against Donald Trump and the other people that are involved in that litigation in the state of Georgia. But let me just go through what this is. So right now, what it's looking like is the judge has ruled on 6 charges against Donald Trump, saying that from the evidence that he has seen so far, Trump did not attempt to change the outcome of the presidential election in 2020. He is also saying that the 2 charges against Donald Trump for calling Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and asking him to find the votes, that was in no way him trying to interfere or control the election. Now, for those people that don't know, Donald Trump did call the Secretary of State, who is a Republican. His name is Brad Raffensperger. He's still in office today. And Trump had an entire panel of lawyers on that call with him. And what they're saying is that Trump was trying to intimidate, and Trump was basically asking him to invent votes. None of that is true. You can go back, you can read the transcripts. That phone call was recorded and then leaked to the press. Now, the girl who leaked that, we're now finding out she was in Florida, not in Georgia. So she may actually be in trouble in the state of Florida for recording without people's permission. So, but as of right now, as the judge is going through everything, he is saying that he is dropping these charges, that the former president did not try to interfere in the election. He did not try to use intimidation tactics, and he did not ask Brad Raffensperger to interfere or invent votes. So that is being thrown out. Now, wouldn't you know it, just as he's doing this, he was going from being this brilliant young hero judge to now they're saying this guy is trying to further his career by being a part of the Donald Trump lawsuit. They're saying that he's young and he's inexperienced. They're saying that he's racist and that he's supporting a white male versus a black female. All of these are lies. Number one, Judge Scott McAfee was assigned this case. So he didn't try to get on this case. He was assigned this case. This has nothing to do with skin color. He's literally been hearing out the facts. He did a sidebar to hear what's going on with Fani Willis. He'll be making a final decision any day now on whether to disqualify her, to toss out the entire case, or let it go forward. Then there is going to be an internal investigation from the state of Georgia on whether she committed fraud, perjured herself under oath on the stand. She could be removed for influence peddling, for propping up a boyfriend and lover. So there's a lot going on. And so Scott McAfee, the judge, he's saying that we are going to be dropping these charges against Donald Trump. Now, he still faces 10 other criminal charges in the indictment. And Scott McAfee said that this could lead to a different lawsuit in which the former president, that they indict him again, but under a different judge, which does make me wonder if maybe he's scared to be ruling on this. And I've wondered the same thing with Robert Hur going up against the White House and President Biden, if maybe he labeled Biden as a senile old man with a poor memory because he was worried for his career and his family. But those 6 counts are being dropped, and the judge is saying he does not see any evidence for Donald Trump having interfered in the election or using intimidation tactics against Brad Raffensperger. So please give this video a like. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's get the word out and share this information. But this is huge news for Donald Trump. They hate this guy. They want him in jail for 700 years. They colluded with the White House. The White House put a spy into Fani Willis's legal camp. We also know that she privately met with the J6 committee as well as Vice President Kamala Harris. So this is a big, big deal. And I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated on the rest of this. But let me go ahead and jump into the rest of the news update. Now, Special Counsel Robert Hur, who opted not to prosecute Joe Biden over possession of classified documents due to his observation that Biden had a poor memory, recently testified before Congress. During this session, Robert Hur reiterated that Biden's assertion of not sharing classified information contradicts the findings of his investigation. Additionally, it was revealed that the White House had sought to amend and modify the preliminary version of Hur's report prior to its release. Now, despite Hur's decision against charging Joe Biden, some congressional Democrats criticized Robert Hur for employing what they considered demeaning language in his report, saying that he targeted Joe Biden in order to get Donald Trump reelected. Now, Hur defended his choice of wording, explaining that it was necessary to clarify his rationale for not pursuing charges against sitting President Joe Biden. Let me know in the comments, do you agree with this or not? Should he have criminally charged Joe Biden? Or was he right to say, let's go ahead and not charge him? I would like to hear from you. Please let me know in the comments. Now, in an effort to combat the damage to Biden's image, Democrats have been flooding the internet with montages of former President Trump misspeaking. Ultimately, voters on the fence won't decide who they believe is mentally absent until the two take the debate stage again. Now, I would be shocked if this debate actually happens, but I would like to hear from you. Do you think Joe Biden should debate Donald Trump. Donald Trump has challenged him twice now publicly, saying, I will debate you any place, anywhere, anytime. And Joe Biden has chickened out and said that he's not going to give Donald Trump any time. Well, guess what? It's your job. It's your job. So anyway, this is what's going on right now. Okay, now, even though Nikki Haley is now out of the presidential race, you would be wrong to assume the entire Republican Party is rallying behind Donald Trump. A group named Republican Voters Against Trump is planning to spend $50 million on advertising in order to embarrass Trump, in order to try to block his reelection. Now, to me, this is crazy. He has become the presidential nominee. And if you want
a bit of interjection.
Republican values, conservative values, Judeo-Christian values to be pushed forward, then you need to get behind your Republican candidate. But this group of anti-Donald Trump people, they're going to spend $50 million trying to block him. So basically, they're spending $50 million to get Joe Biden reelected. What a shame. Now, sadly, I think many Americans are numb to claims that President Biden is corrupt. If there wasn't so much misinformation in 2020, the shock of the Hunter Biden laptop story would have made a huge difference in the election. In fact, close to 20% of people said if they had known about the garbage on Hunter Biden's laptop, they would not have voted for Joe Biden, which is exactly why 51 former intelligence advisors lied to the American people and said that it was Russian disinformation. Felix says charging a sitting president is just as bad as charging a former president. Both are an attack on the U.S. Republic. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Okay, now what Republicans really need is another shocking truth to release. And House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer may get it, as he just issued another subpoena which requests the last 13 years of phone records from Hunter Biden. Now, according to Breitbart News, the subpoena may also apply to a personal line that Joe Biden used during his time as vice president. I'm not sure what Comer will find here, but if Joe Biden's impeachment inquiry doesn't yield any groundbreaking news, this will be a huge win for Joe Biden and his family. Now, liberal news host Chris Cuomo has shocked the world by doing an interview with his former archenemy, Tucker Carlson. At the start of the interview, Chris Cuomo admitted that he should not be doing this, referring to how he could be canceled for doing an interview with Tucker Carlson. While Chris Cuomo did accuse Tucker of cherry-picking January 6th footage, the two seemed to share agreement that it was not an insurrection, but was a riot that got out of control. Now, on the topic of Vladimir Putin, Chris Cuomo even defended Carlson's decision to do the interview. Overall, this interview left me shocked because the two seem to actually have more in common, which I believe is true of most Republicans and Democrats. If we would actually lay down our coat of arms for parties that don't really care about us, we would find we actually have a lot more in common. I've told you guys many times that most of my family are Democrats. I love them. We openly talk about this, but there isn't this hatred for each other because at the end of the day, most of these politicians don't really do anything for us anyway. Okay, Strange Marvel Theories says Joe Biden needs to man up and debate President Donald Trump. I agree. I think that they should debate, even if it gets ugly, and it should be a panel of Republican commentators and Democrat commentators, and they get equal time. That way, each side feels like they were able to make their point, where before we were having like CNN host the debate, and they obviously hated Donald Trump, and it was very, very biased. Now, in an effort to bypass Congress, President Biden has just approved another $300 million for the country of Ukraine. The funds were reportedly obtained from credits refunded to the Defense Department for things that they overpaid for. Now, in all fairness, these funds were actually obtained from refunds, so I don't know that there is an issue. In the grand scheme of things, $300 million is a drop in the bucket compared to everything that we've given to Zelensky and Ukraine. While this will hold Ukraine over for a short period of time, Democrats are frustrated because $300 million is nothing compared to the $60 billion of our money that they want to give to Ukraine. Let me know down below in the comments section, do you guys still support Ukraine, or do you think it's a humanitarian crisis? Do you think that they should seek for peace? Do you think they should stop giving our money away? Do you think that they should give them more than 60 billion? You're entitled to your opinion, so I want to hear from you guys, and I do try to read as many of your comments as I can each day. Okay, but Ukraine says they have a new strategy, really something we should support. For those unaware, Ukraine's former commander, Valery Zaluzhny, was fired and replaced with Oleksandr Syrsky. While Zaluzhny had a reputation of putting his troops' safety first, Politico has released a new report which claims that Syrsky may do just the opposite. So basically, Zelensky needed a risk taker, and risk means more people dying. Now, one soldier who was interviewed stated he will kill all of us, saying that his tactics are radical. Now, in regards to Gaza, a group of Democrat senators, including Bernie Sanders and Chris Van Hollen, are now calling for Biden to halt all aid to Israel. In a letter to Biden, they argued that the United States should not provide military assistance to any country that interferes with U.S. humanitarian assistance. To be clear, they don't want Biden to ban defense aid, but only offensive aid. So basically, Bernie Sanders is saying that if Israel gets in the way of the United States giving humanitarian aid to Palestine and Gaza, that they should be blocked from receiving any other money. I would love to know what your thoughts are on Bernie Sanders. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. intelligence community now believes that protests will bring the end of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But is this true? According to recent Gallup polls, a majority of Israelis support the same action that Netanyahu has taken, which means, although they're disappointed that an attack happened under Netanyahu's watch, they ultimately support Benjamin Netanyahu in attacking Gaza. All right, now Felix says, both charging a sitting and former president destroys the separation of powers in the U.S. Constitution, preservation and defending the republic. It is not about political parties. It is about the republic of this country. Thank you, Felix, for the super chat. 50 million in the Rhino Fund. That's a snafu. All right. Okay, now, for those of you who are just joining, let me do a wrap-up. Judge Scott McAfee of Georgia has decided to drop 6 charges against Donald Trump. After reviewing the evidence so far, he's come to a couple of conclusions. Number one, Donald Trump did not seek to interfere in the presidential election. Number two, he was not asking Brad Rassenberger to go out and invent fake votes in order for him to win. And he was not using intimidation tactics in order to get the outcome that he wanted. So the judge is seeing through the BS and saying, we are dropping these charges, these 6 charges against Donald Trump and the other 18 people. On top of that, he is still reviewing whether to disqualify Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, and the state of Georgia is still waiting whether to revoke her law license, to remove her, to disband her team. I think that they should. There has been so much shenanigans and conspiring. I mean, literally, they're trying to charge Trump on RICO charges, and yet they've been conspiring in order to get Trump. It's really gross, and I think the judge sees through this. Of course, now Democrats are saying that Judge Scott McAfee is just trying to further his career as a judge, that he's using Trump to get ahead and make money.
So
Maybe
what?
he's going to write a book. But guess what?
Who cares?
It was the state of Georgia that assigned this case to Judge Scott McAfee. So this has nothing to do with any of that. I will be back on later with an interview and also another daily news report. This is my update. I want to remind you that you guys are amazing. Never, never, never forget that. Give this video a like, hit that subscribe button. I love all of you. Thank you for being here for this breaking news, and I will see you on the next video.